Hello everybody, how are you doing today? Well, in my last video, if you remember, I went through all the stuff that I got on the record store crawl that I attended over the weekend, and the video was getting a little bit long, so I decided that rather than spending more time to open all the albums on that video, that I would make a separate video of opening and showing the albums that I picked up during the event. So first of all, with the two albums that were given away with the swag bag, I guess you call it. The first one in my wife's bag was this album by an artist called Subtract. This is not someone I'm familiar with, but I'll open it up anyway and see. Maybe it'll be something I'll enjoy, I don't know. I did just look up quickly online to see who this was. It's apparently an English musician who does some different remixes and things of different songs, I guess. I don't know. I didn't look too deep into it, so. The yellow inside is kind of cool. And here's the sleeve. And even the inside of the sleeve is yellow. But here's the labels. It says on the back that this album is from 2011, and yeah, I'll give it a spin and see if it's something I enjoy or not. And the second free album that was in my bag was the Monkees Good Times album, and as I mentioned, I already have this on vinyl, but I'm still going to keep this. I'm just going to keep it sealed. Maybe down the road if I wear out my other version, and then I got a brand new one here. And for those of you who have never heard this or don't have this one, it's definitely worth checking out. It's a really good album. And then let's start with the records that go next into the records that I actually bought. The Stray Cats just released a new album after 26 years. This is their 40th anniversary, and they recorded some new tracks here. You see them there. And this is a gatefold, so I'll take the shrink off and set that aside. And you can see them performing live there. And I do believe that they're actually out on tour again, so I did get the chance to see them live a few years ago. And they really do a good job in concert. They're really fun to watch. There's the sleeve and the tracks there. And apparently there's a colored vinyl version of this album, but this is the standard black. And it also came with a download card, so. And the next album I picked up was by the band The Decemberists. I think I checked out their discography, and I think this is their 6th album, but actually this is the only album of theirs that I've actually heard. I really enjoy all the songs on this album. I think they're from Portland, Oregon, I believe. And we'll open this up and take a look. Yeah, I really enjoy this album, and I haven't, like I said, I haven't checked out any of their other stuff, so I really should do that. And this is a gatefold as well. Lots of different Polaroids or something there. Here we got one sleeve here. Looks like all the lyrics on it. And then they got the album in a white poly-lined sleeve here. All right, moving on. Let's see here, we'll go with this one. I was going through, I think this was the second to the last store we went to. I was just kind of flipping through. I didn't really have anything in particular I was looking for. But as I was going through some of the albums, I noticed this one in the mix. And this is James Taylor's first album that was on Apple Records when he was signed to Apple. This is part of Capitol Records' 75th anniversary series. They put out 75 albums. I believe it was 2017. And this was one of the releases that they decided to go with. Here you can see the full jacket. And then inside it looks like handwritten lyrics. I do have an original copy of this, but it's always nice to get a new remastered version. I'm assuming it's remastered anyway. And here you can see it's on the Apple label. And this album has the song Carolina in My Mind, and I actually prefer the version on this album to the later version that he recorded. And it's also got the song let's see, Something in the Way She Moves, which is a line that George Harrison would kind of use for himself in another popular song of the time. Also in that store I picked up, they had a lot of the Paul McCartney colored vinyl releases that were put out a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago. This is the McCartney album on red vinyl. You can see it's made in Germany. And this one is a gatefold too, but I already know what the gatefold looks like. I have a couple other copies of this album, and I'm sure you've all seen the gatefold as well, so that I don't feel the need to take the shrink wrap off of this one. But we'll take out the inside and see what's included. Oh, they actually included a download card. Here's just a single sheet, the lyrics there. I'm curious to see the album itself. Oh, that is very cool. I'm a sucker for colored vinyl, what can I say? And then at the store, I think it was the store we went to before that, they also had the colored vinyl version of Wings Greatest. This is on blue vinyl. And this is a really good greatest hits collection. Again, I do have the original release of this album, but that's on black vinyl. This is cool new blue vinyl. Okay, another download card. And this one includes the poster, just like the original. Double-sided poster, I might add. So on one side we got a piano there with the wings. And then here we got a larger version of that picture. And then the inner sleeve, we got that in the back. Oh, that is very cool. Now, one thing with this album that I've never understood was it's Wings Greatest. I really don't understand the cover art for this. If anybody can fill me in on what that is, what the meaning behind it is, but nevertheless, it's still a really good album. So, and let's move into some used vinyl that I picked up. I got Ringo the Fourth. I don't have a lot of Ringo stuff on vinyl, so I'm kind of trying to fill in some of the gaps that I have there. And along with the record store crawl, all the stores had discounts on their albums, so it was nice to pick up some cheap used vinyl, even cheaper. So, and this is on Atlantic. And another one I didn't have on vinyl was Paul McCartney's Press to Play. I'll admit this is an album that I'm not real familiar with. I haven't really given this album the time that it probably deserves. I don't know, a lot of people really enjoy this album, but I just haven't listened to it a whole lot, so I'll have to be sure and change that. Here we got the lyrics printed on the sleeve. Okay, let's see, here's the labels. And then another Paul McCartney album I got, and I picked this up. I was positive that I didn't have this album in my collection, and I told my wife, I was like, I don't think I have this one. She's like, yeah, you better not have that one. But I picked up Give My Regard to Broad Street, and I got home, and it turns out I actually did have this in my collection already. But on the plus side, this is an upgrade. So the one I currently had wasn't in the greatest of shape, so now I have a better copy. I looked on my Discogs account when I was in the store too, and it didn't show that I had it, so I must not have inputted that in there. But yeah, this looks almost unplayed to me, so it's always nice to get an upgrade, right? And this was the only thing I got from the last store that we visited. They didn't really have a whole lot that I was interested in there, and some of the stuff was a lot higher priced than I wanted to pay. But I didn't have this one in my collection, and it's John Lennon's Men Love Avenue. And I believe this was released in 1986, if I'm not mistaken. This has got some tracks that were recorded during the sessions for the Rock and Roll album and the Walls and Bridges album, and they weren't released until this album came out. And I'm not sure if this is the original sleeve that it came in, but it's got a plastic sleeve here. And this has got the rainbow label. It's just a little dusty, but it's still give it a good cleaning, and it looks pretty good. All right, and the last thing I'm going to show you guys. When I saw it was released, I thought, well, that's just one release that I don't really need to pick up. That's not something I really feel like I need in my collection. Yeah, it'd be cool to have, but I don't really need to go out of my way to try and get it. Well, at one of the record stores, they had 20% off, and this was already a pretty decent price to begin with. So with the discount, I decided I'll go ahead and pick it up. This is John and Yoko's wedding album. This is the big box version here. It's the 50th anniversary reissue edition. It's their third experimental collaboration, released in 1969. It's remastered from the original tapes. Let's see, it's got a lot of original box and souvenirs of their wedding and bed-in honeymoon, including photos, drawings, and more, and it's on limited edition white vinyl. Not that this album really needed a remastering. It's not something you're probably going to listen to more than once in your lifetime. I'll just carefully slip this out of here. So, let's see what's all included in this box. Take off the lid. And on the inside, we got a copy of their marriage certificate there. Kind of just glued in place. And then we just start pulling the contents out. And here we have this. This looks to be like a poster. A very large poster. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get all this in there, but I'll try. Pictures from their bed-in that they did in the hotel room. And I'm assuming their marriage ceremony. Next, we got like another. Is it just a booklet, I guess? Sorry for flipping it all over the place. This is my first time seeing this too, so not really sure what I'm looking at here. Here's a larger book. It says The Press. Okay, this is a booklet of different newspaper clippings. Yeah, quite a lot of stuff in there. The back is just black. And then next we got this plastic bag. And what's in the bag, you say? Well, we got a little postcard here. Photo strip. And a picture of their wedding cake. And then last but not least is the album itself. So one side has the track called Amsterdam. It's about 25 minutes. The first 5 minutes or so is Yoko wailing about peace, and I hope we find peace. And then there's a section of an interview with John and Yoko, and there's lots of just other talking and conversations and things like that. So that's the most interesting part of this album. And then The other side is just titled John and Yoko. It's about 22 minutes, and all that is Yoko in one speaker saying John in many different ways, and John in the other speaker saying Yoko in many different ways, just back and forth with, I believe it's their heartbeats in the background just beating the whole time. So yeah, like I said, not something you're gonna put on the turntable every day to listen to, but and then here's the album itself. It's on white vinyl and it's got the grapefruit logo there. So that concludes my purchases from the record store crawl that I attended. I hope you all enjoyed seeing everything I picked up, and I will see you guys on the next video. Take care.